Hey guys, it's Matt, and this is Mental Model Monday number 8. Today I want to talk about a tool for making difficult decisions called metaphors of movement. There's a problem with many self-help techniques in that they assume you don't need to make a difficult decision. You find a third alternative that has no negatives, or you reframe the situation, or you make yourself feel better even though the situation has not changed. And I found these techniques can be very helpful for many situations. But oftentimes, the most healthy thing is to accept that a situation is going to be negative. When you're getting over an addiction, when you're ending a hard relationship, when you're healing and you'd rather be productive, but you just need some healing time, the best thing to do is to accept those situations. And it's always been a sticking point of mine because I had no way to do that. To, with every part of myself, say, okay, this is going to suck, but I'm okay with that. Even the part that feels the pain is okay with the pain. This is a way to do that. So it's a 4-step process. And the first step is to start with some sort of real world problem. And you want to make this a big overall problem. So not, when I am, when I'm thinking about ending my relationship, I feel a pain in my chest. But the overall, I'm dealing with a relationship. And then you can describe it. You can get it out of your system, describe it in certain ways. What are the emotions you feel? What are the consequences of that problem? Give some examples of that problem. How would you diagnose that? This is my attachment style. This is my OCD, whatever it is. What's the philosophy? Maybe life is suffering and you think that's it. You're going to sort of get those out of your system in order to let them go. So you can work with this on the 6th level, which is the metaphoric level. So get those out of your system, let them go, describe those, write those down, and just get them out of your system. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to turn this problem into a metaphor. So a real world problem I just started with was right now I just put in my 2 weeks yesterday. I'm quitting my job, and that is scary. And I was just like, I'm not ready. This is scary. So I went through this process. So now you're going to ask yourself, what is this situation like as a metaphor? And the first movement I like to do is actually like a focusing type movement. So if you've heard of focusing, so I'm thinking this whole situation of leaving my job, what is that like? And I just keep sort of throwing things at the wall and see what feels right. Oh, that's like, it's like I'm out at sea. No, it's like I'm in space. That feels kind of right. It's like I'm staring into a black hole. Boom. And that's my first thing I'm right. And then I'm not going to keep doing the focusing thing and try to get every part of the thing. I'm just going to let my subconscious sort of fill that in. So I'm staring into a black hole. Okay, what's left? Space. What's right? Space. And there's some light out in the distance. There's definitely stars and stuff out here, but there's I see something glowing out to the right. What's ahead? The black hole. And then what's behind? A brick wall. Goes every direction, goes up, goes all the way down. I can't see the end of it in any direction. What's up? More space. What's down? It's like I'm standing on like a wooden platform that's at my feet. So now I've created a metaphoric problem. I started out with a focusing type movement, then I just let my subconscious fill in the details. And I'm watching out for boundary violations. So when I keep going, what's to the right? Oh, it's like, it makes me feel really good. Now I'm going back to emotions. No, I want to keep in the metaphor as I'm doing this. So I've done that, and now I'm just going to use some idioms to try and figure out what my subconscious was trying to tell me. So I'm in space. I don't feel very grounded right now. I feel like any step I take, I'm just going to float away. I feel like if I keep going forward, I'm going to the point of no return. There's clearly no going back because there's a wall behind me. So if you just keep doing these idioms and metaphors, you can start trying to figure out, okay, this is sort of what my body feels like, or what my subconscious feels like in this situation. So once you do that, now comes the really cool part of the metaphors of movement process. And this is by a guy named Andrew Austin, by the way, who came up with most of this process, and I've changed it a bit. So now you're going to create a metaphoric solution. Um, and what you want to do is you want to find your feet in a situation. So I'm going to look down, I'm going to find my feet. Where are my feet? And there's some options I can do once I found my feet. My feet are standing on that platform with my feet. I could move forward. I could take a step forward. In this case, that wouldn't be the best option because that would take me right into the black hole. I could go towards what's left. I could do that, but I'm curious what this thing in. I could take a step back, but in this case, I can't. There's no going back. There's a wall right behind me that goes back in every direction. Or I can move in the right direction. And I remember there was that light out there, and when I think about that light is where I'm trying to go. It's very far, it's off in the distance, it's the planet. It's the way that I want the world to be, it's the new world I'm creating with my startup. And so I could take a step in the right direction. But I realized that if I took a step in the right direction, I would be floating, I would be lost. I would not be grounded. I would not be moving in a direction, I would just sort of float off into space. And so what's needed in this situation is for me to turn in the right direction, plant my feet on the edge, and dive into the unknown. That gives me direction, that gives me speed, that's going to get me all the way to where I want to go. And so now I've come up with the very first step I need to take in this metaphor that feels right, that feels like the right thing. I'm going to plant 2 feet, and I'm going to dive off towards the new world. And so that feels right, that on a gut level, that's like, yes, this is the thing to do. And I also want to look at what I had been thinking in the past. Should I just take another tentative step? And clearly, if I was walking down a strange road, I saw somebody, I was like, oh yeah, just take a step off the platform, you'll be fine. That would have been the wrong thing to do. So now that I know the right thing to do, I have to translate that back into the original problem formulation. What's the real solution here that makes sense? So in my metaphoric solution, the solution that makes sense to my right brain, my subconscious mind, my system one, I know. Now I got to translate that back to a real solution. So what's the next action I have to take that looks like? That looks like putting in my 2 weeks and moving down with my co-founder to the Bay Area. And so now I have a series of things that I've done that have led me to what are my next steps. And it feels right. Even though I know it's going to be scary, jumping off into the abyss, I can see that that's the only solution that works in this situation. So just a few nuances here. One important thing is that you don't change the metaphor. You only change what you do in the metaphor. That's super important. Changing the metaphor is more like those other self-help techniques where you're trying to reframe it. This is taking the problem as it is and saying, what is the best thing I can do in this situation as it is? Without saying I'm seeing the situation wrong or something like this, what is the best thing I can do? You also have a couple other moves you can do. So let's say you're stuck in like a box and you can't move in any direction. You could take a move there called growing up. So grow up until you're too big for that box, out of that box, and then take a step in the right direction. Take a step back, take a step forward, take a step towards what's left, take a step toward what's right. And so what does growing up look like in this situation? And then what does taking the step look like? You could, if you're in the total dark, you could lighten up. That's an option. What does lightening up look like in this situation? And what does it not look like? So those are some nuances to the process, but I highly recommend it. It's a great way to make congruent, tough decisions, which is just, there's not a lot of techniques out there that do that. So try it out and let me know what you think.